Hello everyone, hope you're doing fine. Rich here, and today we're going to learn how to spot and draw objective support and resistance levels. Here we have our RichTL indicator default settings attached to a NZD card daily time frame. I usually like to draw my levels on the daily and weekly time frame, then dive into H4 and H1 for entries. We are going to use the same rules we used to draw trend lines, so we need at least 3 dots to consider drawing our support and resistance levels. The easiest way to do it is to draw a random level on our chart and drag and drop it in a way to connect at least 3 levels. So for example, here we can connect only 1 dot, here we can connect only 2 dots, but here we can connect 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's a very good line. And I'll always like to optimize it in a way to be a random number, or as known as psychological level. So here, instead of 0.959, we can make it to be 0.96. So here we have our first line. Let's try and draw another one. Let's continue. We can't draw any line from here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Even we have a 4 touches here. And we always optimize it in a way to be a round number. So let's go for 0.92. We have a second line here. Let's go and try if you can draw a third one. Great. Here we can go for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we can go from here. No, we can only connect 2 touches. So let's go for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's optimize it in a way to be a round number. 0.86. That's a very good one. We've got 3 lines so far. Can we draw any more lines? Let's try. 1, 2, and 3. Let's optimize it in a way to be a round number. Here we go. 0.83. Now we have our lines ready, but how do we use them? Keep in mind that those levels are zones and not laser lines. And one more thing, support and resistance levels are not a standalone strategy, but will definitely add more confluence to a potential setup. Means that we always look for short opportunities around resistance levels and for long opportunities around support levels. So let's take some examples. Here we have our line 1, 2, 3 touches, so we can start to rely on it from here, right? So here we have an example. As I mentioned earlier, I zoom into H4 or H1 chart to look for entries. So let's do it. Where's our line? So we are looking for entries here. We use our 3 touches rules to draw trend lines as well. So here we have a 1, 2, 3 touches. Here we have a trend line, objective trend line. We also have a head and shoulders pattern. Here we go. You have the head, left shoulder, and right shoulder, and its objective neckline, which is also an objective trend line. Our last swing standing is, as usual, the last dot used to draw the trend line, and here we can go for a long entry from here. So we've got 1 confluence, 2 confluence, and the third confluence was the support level rejection here. Let's take one more example. As I mentioned earlier, support and resistance levels are not standalone strategy, so we don't enter blindly when the price reaches the level. Let's take an example here. We dive in on H4 and we look for entries. So here we've got 1, 2, 3 touches, so we couldn't enter here because we didn't have any pattern or trend line trigger. We didn't have anything, so we just wait and look for potential entries. Let's zoom out a little bit, and then price went down to touch our lower support level, then bounce up, and let's zoom in again. So price was here, we didn't enter because we didn't have any trigger or potential setup. Then price went down, touch our lower level, support level, and then forms like a head and shoulders pattern, also inverse head and shoulders pattern. Here we go. Our head, left shoulder, and right shoulder. Here's our objective neckline and also a trend line, objective trend line, and we always go for a break above our last swing standing. The trade was actually a setup I sent on the free group. Let's take one more example. Price is now, here is a live example. Price is now sitting on a resistance level, objective resistance level. So here we go. We also have one more confluence, which is a trend line rejection, 1, 2, 3 touches. So here is a objective trend line, and now price is sitting on the confluence of the intersection between the trend line and the resistance level. So we already have two confluences here. As usual, we zoom in to look for entries. Here we've got a double top, right? Let's make it purple. And the way to trade it is to wait for a candle close below this swing. So we are waiting for this one to close below this gray area to sell this one, because we already have two confluences from the levels 1, 2, and we've got a double top. We can even zoom into H1 time frame and draw our trend line, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, a very strong one, and enter on the candle close below our last swing standing, which is also the last swing standing of the double top. I'll keep this video short, so I'll end it here and do another example on another pair on the next video. See you then.